Hi everyone. In today's class, we are going to learn about one-pass algorithm for implementation of macroprocessor. In the last class, we have seen the two-pass algorithm for implementing macroprocessor. As the name indicate, one-pass algorithm requires only pass for the implementation of macroprocessor. First, we have to understand what is the need of one-pass algorithm. When we were discussing about two-pass algorithm, we had some assumptions. One of the assumption was macro definitions within macro definitions cannot be implemented using two-pass algorithm because the inner macros cannot be defined until we define or call the outer macros. Since we are doing in two passes, first we will define the macro, after that only we will call the macro. So by using two-pass algorithm, we were not able to implement macro definitions within macro definitions. To avoid this, we are using one-pass algorithm. One-pass algorithm allow us to implement macro definitions within macro definitions because here both macro definitions and macro call expansions are happening at the same time. Here is the flowchart for your one-pass algorithm. In this particular algorithm, we are using two more new variables, that is MDI. Sorry, here it is not O, this is I. So MDI, macro definition input, and macro definition level counter. Macro definition input is using to recognize macro calls, and macro definition level counter is using to recognize macro definitions. Okay, so whenever macro call is occurring, MDI will turn on. Then whenever macro call expansion is getting over, that time MDI value will become off. Then macro definition level counter is using to check whether the inner macro M end is matching with the inner macro pseudo opcode, and whether the last M end pseudo opcode is matching with the outer macro pseudo opcode. So in order to implement macros definitions within macro definitions, we are using this particular MDLC. So whenever we are seeing macro pseudo opcode, it will increment by 1, and whenever we are seeing end pseudo opcode, it will become 1. At last we will check whether it is 0. If it is 0 means what? We have expanded all the macros. Then as you can see in this flowchart, we have three sections: 1, 2 and 3. The first section is using for macro call expansion, and the middle section is for macro definition, that which has to be stored in here. The second section will perform the storing of macro definition into the database macro definition table. And if it is not macro definition, or if it is not a macro call, then what we have to do, that particular source program line has to be stored into the expanded source card file. First, we will do the macro expansion part, then we will come to macro call expansion part. So, as usual, the input to the one-pass algorithm is a assembly language program which is containing macro definitions and macro calls. The first step is to initialize the variables which we have used in the algorithm. The first one, macro definition table counter, which will indicate the next available entry in the macro definition table, and we have to initialize it as 1. Then the next one, macro name table counter, it is used to indicate the next available entry in the macro name table, and we have to initialize it as 1. Then the new two variables, that is macro definition input, it will be off and it will be on whenever we are seeing a macro call. Then the next one, MDLC, that is initially 0. Whenever we are seeing macro pseudo opcode, it has to be incremented by 1, and whenever we are seeing end pseudo opcode, it has to be decremented by 1. Then we are doing read subroutine here. So we will see in detail about the read subroutine. We have one more flowchart for this read subroutine. So here it will be reading the source lines from the source program. Then here it is checking whether the source program line is containing any macro call, which means is it containing any operation code matching with the macro name in the macro name table. If it is not, what we have to do? If it is not, we are going to the macro definition storing. For macro definition storing, we have to check whether that line, if it is not a macro call, we are checking whether that is containing, that particular source program line is containing the pseudo opcode macro or not. If it is containing macro pseudo opcode, which means it is a macro definition, and we have to store the macro definition into the macro definition table database. If again it is not a macro definition table, then if it is not a macro definition, then the entire source program line just we need to copy into the expanded source code file and check whether it is end. If it is end, we can finish. Otherwise, we have to repeat the same set of instructions starting from read subroutine. Okay, now we are going to explain about the macro definition storing. So here we are checking whether the source program line is containing pseudo opcode macro. If it is containing macro, which means it is a macro definition, then read the next line from the macro definition, because we won't store the pseudo opcode macro in the macro definition table. So read the next line from the macro definition from the source program. Then as usual, the next line of the macro definition will be the line which is containing macro name and dummy arguments. So for this particular line, whenever we are seeing the macro name line, we have to copy macro name and the index of the macro definition for this particular macro name has to be stored in the macro name table in the place of macro name table counter. And what is the index of the definition for this macro name? It will be indicating by the MDTC value. So whenever we are reading the first line from the macro definition, that is nothing but the line is containing macro name and dummy arguments. At that time, we have to store the macro name and the index of the macro definition for this macro name into the macro name table in the place of macro name table counter. And the index for the definition of macro name will be getting by the value MDTC, which means we have done one entry in the macro name table. Now we have to increment macro name table counter by 1. Then for this particular macro name line, we have to prepare the argument list array. What all dummy arguments we are using in this macro name line, we have to place index markers in that. So we prepare the argument list array which is containing the index markers for your dummy arguments. Then enter this particular macro name line or card into the macro definition database. Then we have done one entry in the macro definition table. Now we have to increment a macro definition table counter by 1, as well as we have to increment macro definition macro definition label counter by 1. Okay, so here why are we incrementing means it is used to check whether inner macro and outer macro has been stored or not. So whenever we are seeing macro pseudo opcode, it has to be incremented. MDLC variable has to be incremented by 1. So the macro name line has added into the macro definition table. Again, read the next instruction from the macro definition. Then in the first macro instruction, wherever you are using the dummy arguments, we have to substitute with the index markers or index notation, and that line, after substituting the index markers, that line has to be entered into the macro definition table. Then check whether is there any inner macro. If that means, is there any again macro pseudo opcode which indicates is there any inner macro. If we don't have any inner macro, check whether it is the end of the particular macro definition. If it is not the end of the macro definition, again repeat the same step. That means read the next macro instruction and copy into the macro definition table. Suppose if the macro definition is containing inner macro, that means we have seen one more macro pseudo opcode. That time again increment MDLC value by 1 and repeat the same set of steps. Then whenever we are seeing the end of the macro definition, which means we have to reduce the counter value by 1, MDLC, that is macro definition level counter value by 1. After decrementing MDLC value by 1, we have to check whether it is 0 or not. If it is not 0, which means we didn't expand all the macros. If it is 0 means what? We have expanded both the inner macro as well as outer macro. So we can come back to the main processing. If it is not yet expanded, then we have to repeat the same set of we have to repeat the same steps mentioned here. This is about the macro definition. Next, we are moving on to the macro call expansion. So here, as the first step, we have initialized all the variable, and we are moving on to the read subroutine. In the read subroutine, it is reading the line and it is checking, it is reading the line. Okay, and here we are checking any macro call is occurring or not. That means if any macro name found, what we have to do, we have to set the MDI variable as on, macro definition input variable as on, and we have to get where is the definition for this macro call. That we will be getting from the macro name table, and in the macro name table, macro definition table index value will give the index for the definition of for that corresponding macro call. Then prepare the argument list array. That means whatever are the real arguments, it has to be replaced in the place of index markers. Then again go back to the read subroutine. Now we are going into the read subroutine in detail. So this is the read subroutine. In the read subroutine, as the first step, it is checking whether the MDI, that is macro definition input value, equal to off. Equal to off means what? It is not a macro call. So we can continue with the next source line reading and return to the main processing. Suppose we have seen MDI equal to on, which means MDI equal to off, that is no. So it will enter into this right side part. That means we have seen macro call. At the time of the macro call, we have to increment our macro definition table pointer by 1, because we don't want to read that line. We have to read the next macro instruction for the macro expansion. Then read the next macro instruction from the macro definition table by using MDTP value. Then read the first macro instruction of that particular macro call definition, and in that particular macro instruction, substitute real arguments in the place of index markers, and we had to check whether it is the M end pseudo opcode or not, whether we have reached M end pseudo opcode. If we have reached M end pseudo opcode, then we have to check whether MDLC equal to 0. Again, we are checking whether we have implemented, whether we have expanded both the outer macro and inner macro. If it is MDLC equal to 0 means we have expanded both the inner macro and outer macro. So if it is a 0, we can turn off our MDI, which means we are done with the macro call expansion. That time we will set MDI value as off and we can read the next source line. Suppose after, if we are not seeing the end pseudo opcode, we have to check is there any AIF or AGO, which I have already mentioned in the last class. These are conditional branching. It will check some condition and it will jump into the loop statement. So if it is there, we have to process that and go back to the main processing. Again, if we don't have any AIF or NGO, again you can go back to the main processing. That's all about the one pass algorithm. So the first section is for processing the macro call. Then the second section is for storing macro definition into the macro definition table, and the right side is for storing the line into the expanded source card file, which is not containing any macro call or macro definition. And we have seen in detail about the read subroutine function. It is mainly using for expanding the macro call. At the time of macro expansion, MDI will become on. At that time of at the finishing time of the macro expansion, MDI will become off. Then let's see what are the advantages. The advantages of the one pass algorithm are nothing but it is gives less overhead, then it is more flexible, then no need to implement the function twice because it is happening everything in a single pass. The disadvantages are it is algorithm is too large and it is more complex also. Now we are going into an example. We have a source program which is containing macro definitions within macro definition. So here, look into the example. I have two macro definition here. One is define, another is ampersand sub. That is not the real inner macro name, that is the dummy macro name. So I have inner macro and I have outer macro. At the time of this macro processor implementation, how will we store this into the macro definition table and macro name table? That we are going to see. So whenever we are storing the outer macro, first we will see macro pseudo opcode, which means it is a macro definition. Then it will read the next line. What is the next line? Define ampersand sub. So that particular line will be stored into the macro definition table in the place of index 1. Okay, then it will store the next line macro because it will store as such because it is the body of the macro define. So it has to store as such into the macro definition table. So macro, then third line ampersand sub ampersand y. So we have to prepare the argument list array. Wherever dummy arguments are there, it has to be replaced by index markers. So ampersand sub is the dummy value here, so it has to be replaced by an index marker. Here we are representing by hash 1. So this hash 1 ampersand y will be stored into the next line. Then MDT, macro definition table, then CNOP, then the remaining all lines will be copied as such into the macro definition table. Okay, the inner macro will not be defined until we call the outer macro. So in the first step, we will be able to store only the outer macro define, and the dummy value ampersand sub has to be replaced by hash 1. So there is only one occurrence, so it will be copied like this. In the index 1, define ampersand sub, the first line as such we have to copy, then the body of that, in the body wherever we are getting the dummy value ampersand sub, it has to be replaced by hash 1. Then the corresponding macro name table will be looking like this. That means it will be containing name of the macro. Now we have copied the macro defined, so the name of the macro is defined, and where can we see the definition for this? In the MDT at the index value 1. In the MDT at the index value 1. So the third column gives the index value in the MDT, where we can find the expansion or definition of this particular macro defined. Then whenever we are calling outer macro, that is defined with a inner macro name. So this is the real inner macro name we are passing. At that time only we will store the inner macro definition. So here we are storing in the as the continuation in the 11th index value, we are storing the inner macro. Inner macro line is here cos, that is cos ampersand y. So in the real macro value we are passing in the place of ampersand sub is cos. So the first line will be cos ampersand y. So you can copy the same line cos ampersand y into the macro definition table. Then the remaining lines of the inner macro can be copied into that, and this is the dummy value of the inner macro. So this dummy argument has to be replaced with a index marker. Here there is only one occurrence of the dummy value. Here we are ampersand y is replacing by 1, and now the macro name table will become we have to store the second inner macro details also. The second macro or the inner macro name is cos, and we can see the definition of the inner macro cos in the index value 11 of the macro definition table. So we have taken one example. It is containing inner macro and it is containing outer macro. In the first step, we will store only the outer macro, and we will substitute each dummy arguments with the index markers. And whenever there is a outer macro call, that time only we will get the real name of the inner macro. That time we will fill the macro definition table with the inner macro definition, and the dummy arguments again we have to replace with the index markers, and we have to make the entry of the inner macro name in the macro name table as well. That's all about the one pass algorithm. Thank you for watching.